Do you value failure?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if you don't fail, you really don't learn. Nobody learns from winning, and I think Michael Jordan, said that. I learned nothing from winning.
It brings us all together for a night. All remember the kind of times we want to last forever. An unforgettable experience. Moments spent with all our friends, gathering around the dinner table.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Lobster and Beer TV. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. Today is a very, very special day because we are on site here in Portland, Maine, the home of Lobster and Beer that we have on every show. And today we are sitting with the man behind the lobster rolls we share with on every episode. He is a family man. He is an entrepreneur. He's one of the greatest people I've met in my life, one of my biggest mentors. Ladies and gentlemen, from Get Maine Lobster, coming to us with a lobster and a beer, Mark Morell. What's up, brother?
Thanks, man. It's good to have you here.
It's great being
Been a
here.
minute.
Yeah, and you can't beat this, man, in Maine woods.
We lucked out, too. The weather is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah, phenomenal.
let's kick it off right? Why not?
Crack them open, baby.
Big Al,
Yards.
check out this,
Good call, too. Summer.
Thank you, sir.
right? The summer ale.
Oh,
Yeah,
Turn those around.
Trade.
Trade.
Summer ale.
Trade.
There's
The lobster on the label.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Little anchor tattoo. I've never seen a lobster with a tattoo.
I've never seen that either. That's pretty badass.
It is fitting for you, though.
Do we get producer Matt one? Yeah.
They make posters, too, that are pretty cool.
Do they? They have great
posters.
graphics. They do a great job with their graphics
Yeah.
and their marketing and stuff on these
You wanna do-
products.
Cheers.
Cheers, Marky Mark, Shipyard,
Cheers.
producer Matt, everyone at home. It's a summer ale. It's a great tasting beer.
Yeah.
It's perfect for this weather too.
Yeah.
They're killing it.
It's a great way to kick off, getting warmer out. Mm-hmm. Especially, you're sitting at the beach, embracing the ocean,
Yeah, so you have a little lobster on it.
getting ready to get eaten.
Give it to him. Marky Mark, take us through the lobster roll that looks ridiculously good sitting in front of us.
So this one's fun. I went non-traditional. So this is how I like to enjoy my lobster roll at home. So, started with a brioche roll, right? It's a little more buttery and softer than a regular roll, yet it has the capacity to hold the lobster well without tearing apart.
Yeah.
And then I'm a big brown butter and tarragon with some really good salt.
Yeah.
And brown butter, the butter gets, it's sweet anyway, but it gets a little bit sweeter, takes a little bit longer of a process.
Yeah.
Tarragon goes great with lobster. It's a delicious roll. So I think we should take a
Let's
look.
dig in.
Let's do it. Oh, I'm excited for this one.
I put a little bit of shallot in there. You'll taste that for texture and a little bit of sweetness.
Oh, baby.
You already picked your favorite roll of the season, so I'm claiming this as my favorite roll of the season.
I think I've picked 3 favorite rolls this season already.
That's true. That's incredible, man.
Oh. Just the tarragon in there. That is fantastic.
And you don't need a lot. Tarragon's strong, but
Yeah.
if you want to do something with lobster and you're tired of the normal, some tarragon, take it to a different level. A little bit of, even on some rice, risotto. Love it.
That fresh lobster we picked up from the docks.
This morning, yeah.
Too good.
Fresh from the boat, from the dock.
Right.
Straight to your doorstep, baby.
Caught
That's how they
lobsters
do
this
it.
morning.
Yeah, we caught some lobsters on the boat this morning. Man, that was such a cool experience. Thank you for taking us out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun. I try to go out as often as I can.
Yeah.
How many times do you think you get out in a year or so? Or-
Not as often as I'd like, but probably 4 times a
And
year.
when you're out there, are you doing anything specific? Are you
Often it's for either the media or, we have customers all over the country. If they come visit, I'm like, please let me know. I will get you out of the boat. So, because I think everybody that has lobster delivered to their house should have the boat experience and learn about the industry. And that's a big thing that I'm an advocate for, is people really understanding how sustainable the Maine lobster and fishing industry is.
Absolutely, and I want to dive into that in a little bit, but first off, take us back. What was your first experience as a child eating lobster?
So I moved to Maine when I was 6, so I hadn't had lobster until then. And there's a picture, and my brother and I were born in Florida, and there's a picture of me, I think in Cape Cod, wearing a Tampa Bay Bucks sweatshirt in front of some old wooden lobster traps. So I think that's my my first memory of it.
Yeah.
But to be honest, growing up, I actually did not eat a lot of lobster. I had a very basic palate,
Yes.
hot dogs and.
And that has changed over the years.
chips.
Nah, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Now my palate has expanded a lot. Then, of course, when I started a lobster company, it was kind of imperative. But I like to experiment in the kitchen and do fun things with lobster. So
Yeah, and this year is the 11th anniversary of the company?
11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's big time, man.
Yeah, we made it through the pandemic. I mean, it still exists, but I think normal life is pretty much here, right?
Yeah, it was nice walking around Portland the past couple of days and seeing people.
Seeing
out.
people.
Yeah, obviously I know, I was talking to Bruce over at Shipyard. He was telling me, unfortunately, like a lot of businesses, a lot of restaurants especially, closed down here. But it's
tough
good to see the ones that have been able to keep their doors open. They're starting to fill up and have capacity, which is nice. And it's just too beautiful in Old Port not to be able to walk around there in this weather.
Yeah, the cool thing is that's awful, right? You say you had a business for 15 years and you can't do it. But a lot of people are falling in love with Maine because last year, driving distance, right? Everybody's driving, so 6 to 8 hours, right? We got people 6 to 8 hours away coming in and fall in love with it, and they're like, all right, well, I can start a business. So one falls, one grows, and that's nature.
The cycle of life.
The cycle of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm interested in a year from now what everything looks like.
Yeah.
And what came up, and what's still away. But yeah, it was weird last year. Because Portland, typically in the summer, I try to stay away. But last year, we got to enjoy Maine like we never have before.
Yeah.
Which was neat. Like, we were going to hotels in Maine and taking long weekends in Maine. We never do that.
Yeah.
We always we go to Puerto Rico or California or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always leave. You never actually take the time to experience what's around you, and there is always so much. Yeah, you just take it for granted. It's just around.
And we found a couple places that we love. That we went to on multiple occasions. So that was one bright spot of the pandemic.
Yeah, there were a couple silver lining things in there for all
Yeah.
of us, I think.
I hope there always is.
Yeah, absolutely. So 11 years ago, you just took a picture of a lobster, put it online, and you were like, let's start a business?
Much, yeah. Just pressed a button.
Pressed a button, all of a sudden orders were coming in. Yeah. Now, how did the idea, how were you inspired to start this?
It's actually an interesting story because I was not living here at the time. I was living in Chicago, Illinois. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was a consultant, and I was actually back. The school you went to, even though I had moved away, asked me to help out. So I was helping out Hyde School. And then my favorite fish shack was the Gilmore Brothers, right? So I go to Gilmore's, to get a lobster roll and a crab cake. And he's like, hey, I want to sell lobster online. And he knew that I was an online guy. And I said, well, let me make sure that's a good idea. I don't want you to get into something that, you get in over your head. So I did the research, right? And the big thing whenever you're looking for, a business is, market expansion, and then is there demand for it? Mm-hmm. So both of those existed. I didn't see a ton of competition, a couple really good players out there, but only a couple, right? And there's plenty of demand. So I said, you should do it. This is how you do it. And I really want you to understand that this is not like running your fish shack, right? when you are selling somebody a live lobster that is in California through a computer, there's a lot of things you got to consider, right? And if it's delayed, they are going to freak out. And it's going to be for a special event. And you got to have customer service in place, right, to show empathy every time there's an issue. And I think that, he wasn't too fond of that idea. He thought that was a little bit much for him. And so right then and there, I said, well, I'm going to do it, and you can fulfill my orders. And we launched about 4 months later. And it was just me, and he fulfilled my orders. Yeah. And I still had my other business.
And so what did you do? So you were already in the internet world prior to that, and that was your specialty. How did you get into that? What were you doing before that, kind of?
So how I got into growing up, I was on the internet in the 80s.
Early.
Yeah. So my dad was a big computer geek. So I had computers all my life, and then when the internet came, I got access to internet. And folks, that's my dog Chevy. He wants to play. Maybe we'll see more.
He also saw you cooking the lobster roll.
Right. I fed him though.
You did give him some? Okay, I was going to ask. Yeah.
What a lucky dog and talk about better than I do normally.
I always hook him up.
Yeah, get him out here. Get out here, bud.
Come meet everybody, Chevy. Good boy.
He's dodging the wires. No, he looked out when you put the plates down. I saw his head turn like this.
Yeah.
What's up, Dad?
Yeah. So then in the early mid 90s, the internet really started going, and I was in a coffee shop in Portland, around the corner from where you guys stayed the other night. Mm-hmm. And I'm reading this article, and I was like, you know what? I've been on the internet for like 6 years now. It really seems like it's going to start taking off. There was browsers at this point and everything, right? So I finished my coffee, finished the article. I walked down the street. I see a storefront web shop, and it was called Tricycle Media. Mm-hmm. And I walk in, and I said, I'll work for free, but I want a key, and I want to know everything that you know. And she said yes, and I worked there for a year, just soaked it all in, learned everything I could, started a business a year after, and the rest was history. I failed many, many times.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. So when you started Getting Lobster,
failed, yeah.
Fail?
Yeah, I started a dating site.
No way.
Really?
Started a dating site, failed. Starting a wedding planning site, was very close to getting some media, failed. And then I started a site for artists where they could low cost way to have like your band or your art or whatever on the internet. So I would buy domains, put content up there, and then I would host their information for them.
How many domains would you say you own right now?
300 plus. Probably.
It's like the business right there. If you just start doing that, you just sell those too.
Yeah. When did you start buying domains?
I've gotten offers for some.
I'm sure. Yeah.
When did I start buying them?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an addiction. So it's been a while. Probably 10, 12, 15 years. Some of them, when I go through the list every now and then, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I'll do that someday.
Yeah.
So I'll buy a domain and then figure out.
It's almost like that's an investment strategy for you, though, too. It's like
Could be.
It's like you're investing in that, instead of putting your money into some other things, you put, whatever, so how much it costs to buy the domain, and then you sit on them, and you never know when one's going to pop.
Yeah, totally. There's a funny story where Dropbox, right? They wanted Box.com, which I think they ended up getting. They ended up buying it for cash, but they offered the guy equity.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I think he got like $300,000 instead of he probably would have gotten $3 million or something.
Yeah,
wild.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy.
And I offered that to somebody who wanted one of our domains, and I said, I don't want any money, but I want equity.
Yeah,
and I only want 2%.
Mm-hmm. They did it?
No.
No.
I said no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. So I mean, the birth of Lobster and Beer came from the idea of us sitting down and sharing this experience with people.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the beer side of it until you were like, yo, I got this domain, LobsterandBeer.com.
Yeah.
And it kind of all clicked, and it made so much sense.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, Lobster and Beer, it just makes sense. I don't know if you'll find anybody. Well, I guess if you found a sober vegan, right? Then it wouldn't make sense, but, it's a small population.
Yeah. Shout out sober vegans, though. We support you.
Yeah.
We love you.
try to eat more plants than I do anything else.
Absolutely, I'm the same. So I've been vegetarian for almost 3 years now.
Nice.
But I guess the way of saying is pescatarian.
Yeah.
And then when I started dating my girlfriend last year, she's vegan.
Yep.
And so I started to go down the vegan road. But the only reason I've stayed up with putting butter on, bread and stuff like that is so I can eat the lobster. I can't give up lobster. One, I love the taste. You guys have the freshest meat in the industry. But 3, the biggest thing that I was concerned about, but I learned about today was the sustainability with the lobster.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. One, the community here in Maine, the lobstermen. It seems like everyone knows each other and everyone has a respect for the art of lobstering.
Any boat you go on, they're all going to tout because they created a lot of the practices, right? So they're super proud of it. And that's why Maine has a solid brand globally. So you could say, hey, yeah, I've got you'll hear commercials and say, guaranteed to be North Atlantic. All right, that's because it's not Maine.
That's a big area right there.
There's nothing wrong with North Atlantic lobster. But when you're buying Maine lobster, you're buying more than just an awesome lobster because you can get a good lobster in Canada. They probably migrated from Portland all the way to Nova Scotia. Vice
They have a
versa.
U.S. passport.
They do. Well, they have both. They're dual citizens.
Dual citizens.
Lucky.
But it's the way of life. It's the taking responsibility for Mother Earth and really wanting to be long lasting, right?
Yeah.
So, in any boat you go on, let's say next year we go on a boat and I take a different guy, gonna tout, or woman, gonna tout it.
Yeah.
They're gonna go.
And he was so passionate about the overall, like I said, conservation. Like that was his most passionate thing, I feel like, which is again the most respectable thing you can do for Mother Earth and making sure that we have lobster around forever.
Yeah, and did he mention that actually catching lobsters in traps? I feel like at one point on the boat today, he mentioned that lobsters actually being caught in traps helps grow the population. He mentioned something like that. Is that?
You stumped me on that one.
Feeds them. Yeah, because
You're right.
Because the smaller ones can get out.
They have 6 years of eating bait, free bait. They feed them for free.
For 6 years, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said it takes about 7 years, I think, for them to go to
Yeah,
maturity.
it's a rough life for a lobster. They shed their shell every year, right? So they go without protection for a moment. Now, you swam in the ocean, so you know what it's like when you catch a wave and it tumbles you.
Oh yeah.
Imagine being a lobster without a shell. Being that vulnerable.
Protection. Yeah.
Sounds like motion sickness too.
And they survive that, and a small percent survive that. Mm-hmm. So a lobster female will, lay 40,000 eggs. Well, a low percent of that are actually going to make it. And then a low percent of that are going to make it to our eligible years, which is 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
1 pound, 0.9.
So that is the prime range, 6 and 7 years. That's like
that's how it takes to get to the legal.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so nothing under 0.9, nothing over 4.
What do you prefer to eat? What size?
I like the small ones. The biggest one I will bring home personally would be a 1.5, but I prefer what we call chicks, which are 0.9 to 1.1.
Yeah. Why?
Smaller, sweeter. Just sweeter, more tender.
Okay.
It's younger. Think of, like an old hanger steak from a cow that's like 40, compared to veal.
Yeah.
Or a beautiful fillet compared to chuck. Things like that. So it's just a different.
I've been out of the game for 3 years, but I think I kind of remember what it's like.
Yeah. I can tell you it's good. The veal is good at least. Not like the lobster though.
What's up, guys? As always, thank you for watching. I promise we will get back to the episode right away, but I want to let you know about something special we are doing. Here at L&B, mental health is very important to us, so we have collaborated with today's guest to create a t-shirt based around subjects that we've talked about in today's episode and stuff that means a lot in their lives. And we put it into the t-shirt in a design, and we're selling it right here at this link. If you go to this link, you buy the t-shirt, 100% of the profits for the next month will go to a mental health organization. So right here, this link, go get that t-shirt. Now back to the episode. So you mentioned that when you started the company, the first year, were you still in the red and you hit some roadblocks?
So, we've had a lot of ebbs and flows. I had no idea what was going to happen, which is why I kept the other business for 2 years, Yeah. And we latched on to, I bootstrapped it. So I didn't have any money to really invest in marketing or anything. So I latched on to Groupon. They were right down the street.
Oh, yeah.
And I gave them a call and said, I've got Lobster. And they said, oh my God. So we actually kind of partnered in a way.
Yeah.
Because they said, how do you work? And I go, here's my margins. How do we invite the public to this experience? And I didn't know what people were going to want, right?
Yeah.
So I put together a pack, and then things evolved from there. We listen and iterate. So we've changed, multiple times.
What was the first iteration of?
It was, we just called it the, Maine lobster dinner for 4. It was something super duper simple, and it was 4 crab cakes, 4 pounds of mussels, and 4 lobsters. And that was our hero.
You still do that today?
We don't sell that one today. We sell iterations of it, but no, we don't sell that. Every now and then, like probably every other year, we'll bring it back. And when the lobster price goes down so that we can give them a really good deal on it. But, typically we just keep that one away. Well, we love shipping live lobsters. It also makes us, nervous. We're very good at it and have a high success rate. However, people really love lobster meat and lobster tails. So why don't we focus our attention on telling people about those products, and so we shifted away from promoting live lobster shipping because one, everybody's ordering online even before last year, right? So, there's a chance that the order will spend an extra day in transit. If it's live lobster, it might be all right. There's a pretty good chance it's not going to be all right. So just imagine what it feels like when it's granddad's 80th birthday party and he wanted lobsters and it's a day late and they all passed in transit. What a waste.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure you've had a lot of those experiences.
A lot.
How do you deal with them?
Just empathy. We say, yep, I am just as mad as you are. All my intention when I was packing this box, I was just dreaming about how awesome it was going to be for you and your family.
Yeah.
And then something got in the way. And that was out of our control. And we just try to make it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to partner with companies like UPS and FedEx and whomever else. We just have to,
Yeah.
And they, they all work very, very hard. So we all do our best. And sometimes we make mistakes. Yeah. Oh, and it's just empathy. That's all. We've all been there.
Totally.
I've had stuff not arrive.
Has COVID really altered the shipping process kind of and how you guys have had to kind of go about things?
We had to make a couple of shifts because of COVID. One, we ran out of physical capacity. Two, logistically, we had to add forklifts and trucks and things like that, right? Just so that we could maneuver quicker and think differently because we were going from, say 50 boxes a day to 500. So things are different when that happens. So we had to move our frozen to a whole other location. Shipping-wise, yes, we would prepare for 2 days in transit. We would promote even less than we do, the live lobster thing. And we turned off Saturday arrival, right? Because if it doesn't land Saturday, it doesn't get there Sunday. Yeah. So we would turn that off for a while. Connecticut was really backed up for a month. We didn't ship to Connecticut for a month. Just random things like that. Super agile, kind of approach. We're like, hey, we're seeing this pattern. We want success. We want success for them. Everybody's freaking out. So let's just do what we can do to set everything up for success. And that's just was our attitude on a daily basis, just had to adjust.
I love that. I've heard in the past you say before too, you don't necessarily consider, although you are an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily consider yourself an entrepreneur, you consider yourself a storyteller. How has that played a role in Get Maine Lobster and growing the company?
So, a lot of like subscribers get it. I write, I don't write a lot of the emails anymore. I do on the weekends. They can feel it and see it and how I present, whether it be a recipe or an idea or even sharing like my own stuff. For example, one of our most successful campaigns was...
Sexy or successful?
It was actually sexy too.
And successful.
Yeah. Was when I ran a half marathon, right? Now, I'm not a small person. So I knew that would be an impactful story. Yeah. And so I would write about that. Or, when my nieces graduated, high school and college, I would just write about that stuff and I would share it. So a storyteller wants to tell stories. So when you are telling stories to the people you serve, you create more intimacy between you. Instead of it being a transaction of money and service, it then becomes a relationship. And I think that's the difference. And that's why my title is Chief Curator and not CEO.
I love that.
Totally. So when I sign, paperwork, I've got to write president or COO or whatever, but CEO. But, if you look at when I send you an email, it says Chief Curator, and that's kind of, because that's all I think of. Yeah. It's like, how can I, for example, because we're growing and whatnot, I want to have more success. I want to keep the box. I look at everything as a box, right? Because we put the product in the box. So I want to give the box the most success. So we're going to have to diversify our fulfillment, right? So that we have, say we're at 98%, delivery rate. We can get to 99.5. If we redistribute our fulfillment. So, what if we get in Maine, we get our stuff ready and we send it to California and let California fulfill it for us for the West Coast. It doesn't have to get on a plane. A plane is our biggest enemy. It's also our best friend, but it can be our biggest enemy.
I'm sure.
4 tires are optimal. But if I got to get to California today, I can't get there on 4 tires. I have to use a plane. Yeah.
How has over the years distribution changed for you? Did you switch company? Have you been with one company from the beginning, or have you had to pivot?
No, I've gone back and forth. I started with UPS, then I went to FedEx for a few years, and then I went back to UPS, and now I'm back with FedEx. Yeah. And it's all, both of them work hard for you. I think for other customers. Yeah. Sometimes there's an event that inspires my decision. Sometimes it's just somebody made me an offer I can't refuse. We're attractive because we ship a lot of those boxes. Yeah. And we ship everything overnight. So that's another reason why it's attractive. But now because of COVID, we may not be as attractive. Maybe grounders are more attractive, those that never get on a plane. And we're food, right? So we get really upset. We're not a good customer, and if I was to, have my FedEx rep here or my old UPS rep here, I could show you the threads, and I'm not a good customer because I have high expectations. Yeah. Because I know it's going to occur because it's not devastating, but sometimes it is. What if it's Christmas Eve, right? And I'm sending you Feast of the Seven Fishes. And your whole family's there, and Aunt Edna, that you haven't seen in 13 years, right? Because you guys just reconciled, and you were excited to do something unforgettable for her, and it didn't arrive.
That was one of my big questions for you too. Getting to know you over the years, you're an extremely empathetic person. Does that get in the way for you sometimes with this business?
It's expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very expensive, but I think it's actually an investment because people see that we get ROI we make it right. So we went uninsured for a while on our boxes because it got to the point where it was too much of a liability for UPS or FedEx to say, yeah, we'll cover things. But think about, they had, it's called peak December. They had peak volume in April, right? So, but they don't have the labor of December in April.
They're not prepared.
Oh yeah.
Right? But they pulled it off for the most part. They struggled madly, right? And the success rate just, kept going down.
Yeah.
But people wanted it. We just kept doing it. But I think you get a return, because we'll get more repeat orders. And I obviously don't know anybody else's data, but we are, if you were to go out and look on Facebook or whatever, we're the highest rated lobster delivery company. Yeah. So, and we work very hard at that. We have more customer service people than we need, and we have somebody that works overnight.
You think you'll be doing this for years to come?
Years to come?
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, December's rough.
He's already got that marked up.
Well, but I asked that though. Like, is there? You tried.
I think so. It depends. I got to get some things in place.
Yeah.
I got to get some things in place.
It just seems like you were talking about the different companies that you tried to launch, the dating site and all those, and you landed on this one. It's going great. But I'm sure, being someone like you who has that hunger and the want to tell these stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some other stuff cooking for you outside of the lobster business that you're really interested in.
Oh yeah, lots of stuff.
Jumping into.
Million things.
Yeah.
Million things. With this particular business, sometimes I want to be out of it. Sometimes I'm madly in love with it.
Yeah.
That's the relationship. I still have some things to do, with this particular business.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to have, because now we have 2 physical locations, 20 employees, right? And this all happened very, very fast.
Yeah.
I acquired, a company last year that was like us, and combined those 2, and then COVID hit. And I didn't even get a minute to transition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I have a minute, so I'm starting to do that. And so I'm really keeping my head down to what are the pieces that we need to make it so we are just in love every day, and just loving it.
Do you have family working with you?
My brother works with me, yes, and then my nieces worked with me a little bit. My daughter came in, and Heidi, she works for me because she puts up with me.
That's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah. Sometimes she doesn't, right? Because I can get obsessed.
Yeah. Older or younger brother?
Older.
Older? By how much?
3.5.
3.5? You guys get along when you were younger?
No, he used to beat me up.
Did he really?
Yeah, pretty good too.
Shit, really?
Yeah. I got one funny story.
Yeah.
He punched me in the face, my nose, blood just went, right?
Yeah.
So our parents weren't home. Back then, you didn't have a babysitter, right?
Yeah.
So I locked him out of the house. Like, he went out, and then he went outside or something.
Yeah.
So I locked him out of the house, and you didn't have cell phones back then. So I would scream out the window, "I'm not washing my face, and you can't come in."
Something I do with my older brothers.
And so then he threatened me, and I cried, washed my face, and unlocked the door. But he also loved me very much and protected me too.
He did. So you guys back and forth over the years, and obviously I'm guessing you're pretty tight now working together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's good to have him there,
Yeah.
Because, it's family.
Yeah. I have the older brothers. I was a piece of shit growing up, so I deserved every. They never really beat me up. There was one moment when my brothers tell this all the time. I was 5 years old. We were living in Gibraltar, southern tip of Spain. Went there for 2 years. My dad helped start. Back in the day, Verizon was called 9X. And so my dad helped start Jib 9X. And so we went over there.
You were in Spain.
Yeah.
For 2 years?
2 years.
You were 5.
So Gibraltar, though, is the southern tip of Spain. It's actually an English colony. So I had, at 5 years old, now we should pull them up for the show sometime. I have videos as a kid with an English accent. So I'd walk up to people and be like, "Oh, happy Boxing Day." And the accent was a lot better than that.
Put them on into you.
Yeah, seriously, yeah. No, absolutely, yeah.
You picked up a full English accent in 2 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're 5, though. That's when you're a sponge.
Yeah.
That's when you're really learning.
Exactly. That's the mind is the ultimate sponge. Then you can teach anybody anything.
It's true. No, it's true. Yeah, no, and luckily.
Can we bring it back? I think everybody would enjoy listening a lot more.
I would agree. Seriously. So my dad, if he was coming up right now with his skills on capturing moments, he had an old school video camera. And I have they trusted me with giving me the 2 suitcases of tapes that we have from kids. But my dad captured every moment, narrating every moment. He would be a TikTok star right now. He still actually might be. His karaoke game is on another level. We're actually going to show a clip of him singing right here, just so you guys know. And he sang for Scott too. But no, so he always had a video camera. So then my brother Scott, he's the second oldest. He's 8 years older than me. Then JT is 10 years older than me. Scotty was filming us, and he gave the camera to JT, and Scotty started pushing me around, and I just crouched down and I jumped up and I gave him a huge uppercut to the nose. 5 years old. He was 13. Scott stepped back on camera. He's blown away that I just put him in his place. And JT was like, he never messed with you after that again in your life. I mean, still bullies me today in a loving way.
That didn't work for me.
It didn't? No,
that didn't work for me either. Me and my older brother, I was at least bigger than my older brother was for the most of the part.
Yeah.
So he tried to beat up on me, and then usually I could turn it around. But he's had one where he punched me, broke his whole hand punching me in the back.
Nice.
Mother was not happy about that. Let's say that is for sure.
But you learned his lesson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe.
Actually, no, that was the last time I'm pretty sure we ever got in a fist fight. Or it wasn't even a fist fight. It was him hitting me in the back or something.
Yeah. That's the power of family, though, man. It's as I've grown up, I've had friends that our relationships have fallen off for this, that, and the other reason, but. My brothers have been through a bunch of different shit together, and we've hit some really rocky points. But at the end of the day, they're my brothers, and we love each other, and we're there for each other. We could get in an argument and a fight, and then 20 minutes later, it's like, hey man, what do you need? I'm here for you.
100%.
And that's the importance of family, and we harp on that a lot on the show because this has been a family for me. And in the music business, it's a very cutthroat business. And through the years, I've been in situations where I thought, I was at a great label or working with great management, and it's a money game sometimes, and it's cutthroat. And that's the one thing I've loved about your business.
Sometimes,
all the time, but it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't.
It does not have to be, and that's what I think you have done so well with the company, and what's been so inspiring to me to see that from afar as a friend throughout the years is. I've never seen you, and I told the guy, and they told me earlier today, they're like, he's just a big teddy bear, man. And I honestly think if I brought you into a room of strangers, they wouldn't sit there and be like, this dude owns a very successful company, and he's killing it. And not, I guess that says something about your character. No, but there's, there's living in LA for a while, there's an ego with business folk. That's very prevalent there, and I don't mean to put that on everyone, but you see it, and everyone's very cutthroat. Everyone wants to say, "Hey, I'm successful. Look at my numbers, all this," and then you come to Maine, and it's
different.
It's much different. Some juicy stuff you're hearing, I know, and we'll get right back to it. But I want to let you guys know, he's laughing, but I want to let you guys know, we have a Patreon, and if you want to see more juicy stuff, more footage that is not in this episode, if you hit this link right here, you can go to the Patreon, you can see that stuff. We have exclusive giveaways from Get Maine Lobster, Shipyard Beer. You can see everything that you cannot see in this episode that we're actually not allowed to load up on YouTube. If you click this link right here, join our group, you're going to get special offers, hangouts with us in the LMB studio, have a beer with us. You can even join our weekly Zoom calls where we edit these episodes. So once again, this Patreon right here. Now, back to the episode.
Well, going back to what you said too on that and the empathy and stuff, and it's like, again, losing a little bit of money in the long run to make sure every single customer is satisfied and is going to come back. And like I said, for me personally, if that happens and I get them, so they mess something up for me, but then I get great customer service and they hit it, there's no doubt that I'm for life with them. I think that is
Absolutely.
And like I said, so to people nowadays, so many companies put their bottom line as number one. You know, they don't care, all about money. They don't care about the customers. So I think that's something that's lost nowadays. But every single person appreciates that.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and it is an investment. It comes back. You know, you have to trust it, and it's hard to see. But, well, actually, the data tells you, right? Because, you know, suddenly when you look at your customer base and you're like one-timers to five-timers, right? And your five-timer is increasing over time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a good thing. So you're doing something right. Getting somebody to spend a couple $100 5 times is not easy, right? And even for, you know, the affluent, you know, it's $200 for dinner, right? It's not cheap.
No.
But it's an awesome experience.
That's the thing.
And it's worth it.
Experience.
You know, so some of them are, you know, we've got people in the 20s, you know, 20 times they've ordered.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, we've got people way more than that. We got people that order
Wow.
every month and been with us for 5-6 years.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It just shows again what you've strived to do through your storytelling things to develop a community and not just a business, but a whole community of people where everybody feels connected and involved in it, essentially.
Family.
I have a question. Do you value failure?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if you don't fail, you really don't learn. Nobody learns from winning, and I think Michael Jordan, you know, said that. I learned nothing from winning, and yeah, I mean, we had an amazing 2021. We had a really rough Q1 of 2020. We had amazing 2020, a really rough 2021 Q1.
Yeah.
Because of weather, ran out of product. You know,
That's right. Yeah, you told me you guys ran out
it
of.
was super difficult, right? So, you know, we had this amazing year, right? And then Q1 2021, you lose a lot of money, and you're like, God dang it! And then you got to wait, and it's out of your control. So I don't think that's a failure, but it feels like a failure. But the most important thing is it's a learning, right? You're like, okay, so what do I do now? I don't have lobster rolls. There was a time where I wasn't selling lobster rolls. That's our number one thing. And I wasn't selling them for a while.
Yeah.
So, all right, so think about that. You got 20 employees, you have 2 facilities, and your hero products don't exist. So then we're just inventing stuff.
What'd you do?
We invented stuff. Well, we had to pull back, right? We had to pull back. Hey,
He's going for the lobster roll.
all you gotta do is ask.
That's
You're a bad boy.
great. That was awesome.
Do you see that?
He was looking at me while I was just finishing mine, and he said, I
Don't
need
tell
it.
Mama.
I need it.
Tell
That
Mama.
was awesome.
So immediately started putting together like bundle packs with other proteins. We still had scallops, and our scallops are amazing.
Yeah.
We took our lobster roll kit and we said, all right, what can we do? And I said, why don't we do the queen pack and we use our small lobster tails and we do a video and show them, hey, cook them up, chop them up, mix them up, boom. You have not a lobster roll, you got a queen roll, right? You just upscaled it. So that had a really slow start. You invested, you know, time in making a really thoughtful video. It didn't connect, right? They were looking for, I want it to be as easy as you did it before, Mark. And well, I'm saying I can't.
Yeah.
Here's my alternative. Boy.
He's going for it, man. You see him slowly.
That's how good it is. He's making his.
He's circling the table. He's going to come back around
He
now.
never does that.
Hey, listen, like I said,
Showing off.
He knows you're distracted right now. So or he's just trying to get
So
on.
it just now really started to take, you know.
And with you having to branch out into some of those other things, is that now opening up to be like, oh, well, this is something though that we should also carry on in the future once we have everything back?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in 2021, but in 2022 for sure, right? So we've been, you know, lucky enough to build a customer base that's quite substantial. So, you know, why not introduce new ideas and new products to them. There's a couple of things we're working on. One is our mac and cheese, our lobster mac and cheese is incredible. And we have a Cajun shrimp bowl that is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to start promote. The mac and cheese sells itself. Cajun shrimp takes a little bit of effort, but it's really awesome. We have a lobster scampi. Want to come out with some other ready to heat stuff. That's really awesome. You know, some healthy stuff, and then just some, hey, I just want some wholesome.
I mean, lobster mac and cheese, man. I mean, I'm a huge mac and cheese fan.
It's really, really
Sorry,
good.
With the lobster in there. What kind of meat do you use in the lobster mac and cheese?
CK, so claw knuckle.
Okay.
Yeah. So tail meat, I prefer claw knuckle. I don't eat a lot of lobster tail.
Yeah.
Is that for some or specific reason?
So the claw knuckle meat is just so much more tender. It just comes right off. Like these are made with claw knuckle meat. Tail meat, you know, it's a little bit more of a grip, but it's heartier, right? And some people really like that. Well, we sell a lot of lobster tails, so a lot of people like it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still really good. It's just a totally different texture.
Yeah.
Flavor's similar.
I'm sure.
So, but yeah, and we want to do some, you know, land-based proteins. We want to get into plant-based proteins. We want to be able to provide other things. You know, like one of our suppliers has a really good seaweed burger. You know, that I want to try out
wow.
this. I want to try out this summer.
I've never tried that.
Yeah, 100% vegan, and you know, so.
Yeah. So, what's your advice for the young entrepreneur that's just coming up in the game right now?
7-Eleven.
What's that?
Work at
7
7-Eleven.
and work till 11 p.m.
No.
Oh, 7-11. Oh yeah. Okay.
I was gonna say, you know, I think about that a lot because, you know, some days I'm like, you know, it's you, an entrepreneur keeps everything to themselves. They don't, well, I don't celebrate. And I also don't share when, you know, I don't share the failures either. And I keep it all in.
Yeah.
And it's not healthy. The most important thing is to surround yourself with like-minded people that are just a little bit above, so you can always be learning. And that's essential. And I'm lucky in that. I mean, I'm so lucky in that. I've got amazing people that I have their phone number and I can call them. But that hasn't changed me. I'm still very much internalized. You can ask anybody in my team and they're like, he doesn't tell us anything. I just started to give them more information, and I was just very recently, because I'm like, I have to now.
Yeah.
You know, we're just getting to that point where I have to let go of some of these
You're getting too
things.
big. You can't essentially. You can't micromanage. You
can't.
You can't do it.
Yeah, I remember I called you like 4 or 5 months ago, and we got on the phone, and you're like, "Hey man, I'm just running around to pick up buns right now, to get out for the lobster rolls." I'm like, you don't have someone that can do that?
So we were at that much capacity, right, where I was the best person to do that.
But
I also liked doing it.
I love
For example,
that.
I like going to Pineland Farms to pick up our beef.
Yeah.
Because it's driving from here to New Gloucester is like one of the best drives in the state of Maine, in my mind, right? And you don't see the ocean. But I like going to do the beef pick. I don't do it anymore, right?
Yeah.
I've been in planning mode since, you know, late February.
I think I heard something there though that also maybe is an answer to my question, is you take the time to appreciate the small things in life.
Yeah, it's
Taking
essential.
that drive. Rather than sitting at your desk just grinding all day. I'm gonna take this opportunity to go out there and sit, and I'm sure it's a great think tank for you on their drive.
Yeah, an important thing. Yeah. So here's some advice. I don't like to give advice, right? But all I'm going to do is share an experience. So meditation, right? That's how I'm able to stay calm, right? Even in, you know, we had a guy lose his pinky at work, and I walk in and nobody's around. I'm like, how is there nobody around? There's only 2 days left till Christmas. Oh yeah, Jack, you know, hurt his pinky. Come to find out he lost his finger. And I'm like, all right, you know, and just, all right, what do we do? So that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Meditation, reading, right? Whether it be fiction or non. And then I'm lucky in that I'm involved in a group called UNTO, the UNTO Institute, and once a month I get to roundtable with other CEOs and get 2-3 hours of just talking about, I get to present an issue or I get to listen to an issue. Either way I get something out of it.
That's great.
Yeah. So
what advice would you give this 16-year-old you, moving forward? Is there something specific that stands out to you that you would have?
Should have stuck with acting.
I love that.
I guess we know what that means. We're getting kicked out of here, Mark. Even though you live here, I don't know how there's a last call in your own house.
He's kicking us out.
Yeah, he's kicking us out, apparently. Hey, man, before we go, first off, thanks, man. So grateful for everything you do for the show. Lobster rolls, these are all brought to us by Mark from Maine. Get Maine Lobster. Everyone go to the site, check it out. We have a special code that we'll put right here in the video. Shipyard Brewery. You guys
do a
have
lot
been
of fun
amazing.
stuff together.
They have been amazing. Season 1, we got to go to the brewery yesterday, hang out with the whole team. They were incredible, man.
Family, like Mark's business.
Yeah.
Like Get Maine Lobster, Shipyard, like us. It's all family oriented.
That's why we love doing stuff with Shipyard. Is exactly that.
Yeah, and we felt it, man, and they treated us like their own. And so, man, I have one last question before we go. If there was an autobiography written about your life today, what would it be called?
Barefoot.
Why?
Yeah. I think I got a couple different meanings of what that could go to, so I'm interested to hear.
My first thought was like Rick Rubin.
He copied me. Rick.
We'll be coming after you.
That's gonna be a clip.
That's my mission, is to be barefoot. So if you think about what it takes to be barefoot by choice, that's what I want. I want to be barefoot. I do not want to wear shoes. Ever.
So that's like you're literally speaking barefoot. Like, does that have any figurative meaning behind it too?
Think about
being able to live a life.
I get that.
Yeah.
The mental fortitude and stuff. I just
No, not mental fortitude.
No, it's you create.
You create the freedom.
The freedom.
All right. So you have to have, enough money, right? Well, actually, no. I mean, I guess you could figure out and live off the land, but I've kind of gotten accustomed to, wanting to go and have a nice dinner. But so you think about the environment that you live in, right? And the community that you're in, right? Mm-hmm. Where they don't care if Mark walks in with shoes or not, or maybe I own the town. I don't know. And it says, hey, we're a no shoes town kind of thing. Who knows? But barefoot to me is ultimate freedom.
Yeah.
So that's my desire, is ultimate freedom.
I love that. Hustle till you're barefoot.
Hustle till you're barefoot.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, did we just come up with something
there
right there?
There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching season 1 of Lobster and Beer. We're already working on the guests for season 2. I can't wait for you guys to jump in on that. But make sure you subscribe to the channel. Go check out Get Maine Lobster, Shipyard Beer. We love you guys. We're going to go party in Maine right now because we did it. We made it to the end. We'll see you guys season 2.
Hello, I'm Mark Merle, and you're watching Lobster and Beer TV.
Hey guys, I know we got kicked out of the bar. They called last call, but we're back. And I just want to let you know we appreciate you guys so much. Our fan base means everything to us. So if you can, hit the like button, subscribe right here, and hit us up on Instagram, socials, everything. Lobster and Beer TV. We love you. We will see you on the next episode. Peace!